Hello and welcome Construction World. Christopher from Oryx Consulting and Lindsay from Oryx Care. Just wanted to bring something up. Lindsay's been showing me some things and I've been finding little things from tidbits from time to time about the noise that's out there. There seems to be a lot of interest, I should say, interest in the mental health, and it's been picked up more and more and more, particularly in the construction industry. I wanted to sort of speak to Lindsay quickly just about, I say the noise, but it's wrong, it's misinformation really at the end of the day. I hate using that term, it drives me wild, but be very careful if something doesn't sound right to you. Mm-hmm. Some examples, what was the one yesterday where someone was talking about, you know, like negative thoughts? Yeah,
not shying away from them, or it was just
it was very bizarre.
Confusing a little bit.
Confusing, and that's probably the best word. Everyone's got negativity in their life, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At some point in time, you're going to be negative, and adversity. But embracing negativity, I don't think, is the right way.
Yeah, and maybe that's not really what was the intention of the post or whatever, but that's just like one of many examples that I see all the time. Mental health has become more trendy now, so now everybody is kind of dishing out advice, and I think sometimes it's just thoughtless advice.
Yes.
Whether their heart's in the right place or not.
That's it, and their intentions might be good, and that's why we just wanted to bring this up. The intentions might be good and all of that, and I'm not saying you got to get your advice from Lindsay. I'm not saying that at all, but some of these things, like I'm in October this year will be 4 years zero drinking. Okay. But I know that drinking and Lindsay has spoken about this, I've spoken about this, we've spoken about it together, the booze in the industry for remote construction work and construction as a whole is a problem, okay? Mm-hmm. The overindulgence in it, if you will. Guilty as charged, like, I'll be the first one there to say that. But
hence why you don't drink anymore.
Hence why I don't drink. I've had enough to live 2 lifetimes, don't worry about that. But the guys that are sitting there like, hey, the weekend's here, go and hit it hard and just remember to relax and all of that, it's not sound advice.
I did see that once.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen like a few things similar to that, but the one was like literally that. Like
literally telling people to knock themselves out with alcohol because it's the weekend and, you know, time to unwind. That's exactly what it was. It was time to unwind.
Now that doesn't mean every person that read it or seen it or whatever has a drinking problem, but knowing that it is such an issue in the industry,
yes,
people should just be more mindful about promoting that sort of thing.
And that's
just some of the messages are
like exactly. It's the message behind it. If you're going to promote the healthy mindset and all of that, doesn't mean you have to be Zen and Buddha and all of those kinds of things. We all know there's booze in the industry. You don't have to bring a red flag to it and tell people to do it more. You know? The message about unwinding, absolutely spot on, perfect and all of that, you know. So just be careful of the information that you're getting in there, and not to say that you have to follow us for that. Not saying that at all. No. Just be mindful of what your trigger mechanisms are, what brings you down, what makes you depressed, you know, and it might be alcohol and all those kinds of things. So just be very, very careful. The other one that I wanted to speak about, and some of the messages that Lindsay has received in the past before too. We had someone, Lindsay put a post up, and it was about along the lines of, you know, how do you deal with pressure and situations and things like that. We had someone make a comment, and the comment was, it was so naive, it was laughable at best. The problem with that is that people will read that comment, and I won't tell you exactly what it is. It was full of profanity, like anything in the construction industry, but it was basically, it was really offensive, but it was harden the F up, take a cup of cement and all of that. Look, I've been there, I've said that, and I cringe and regret every time that I've said it. I tell you what was the most alarming thing about this. Now, thank goodness he didn't look after people, because that was my first question. This was a young guy in the construction industry. We're not learning. You know, for some reason we don't seem to be learning. The situation and the problem's getting worse and worse and worse, and everyone wants to talk about it like we keep saying, but no one's offering solutions. Lindsay's offering solutions. Real time, get online, get a solution from Lindsay. You got a problem right now, within an hour you can have that all right. Okay, that's what it is. I can start understanding what the problem is now, and I can start directing my thoughts, my mindset, my process to fix that and to better myself in that area. That's what it's about.
So you have to block out all that other
you have to block out
first, because while he wasn't in charge of people, he's definitely working with people if he works in construction. So you have no idea who he's saying that sort of thing to or whatever. And that's the problem. That's where the toxic culture continues to grow. And
good point, because like that one guy, although he's not in charge of people, he's certainly sitting in a smoko room with people in the lunchroom.
On the job with them.
And that can be that toxic culture. So if you're a boss, if you're a supervisor, whatever the case may be, and you see that in your crew, you need to stop it immediately. If you're the same as that person and he's just regurgitating what it is, if you're the young guy, that is not normal, okay? Not in a good working environment, which needs to change and is changing over time. Now, what was even made this even worse was the guy couldn't take no for an answer, and he was wrong, okay? He was one of those know-it-alls, as we all know those kinds of people. Kept going and going, that's fine, no problem. Well, I'm not going to engage with that kind of thing. That's exact same week, one of my connections on LinkedIn posted up a notification that one of his good friends had died of suicide in the industry. That exact same week. So going back to that, just be so careful of where you get your information from and the type of information that you're consuming.
I think I said one thing back to him, like, you're misinformed, whatever it was, and then it continued. I deleted the comments and everything, because I won't even have that sort of message on my Instagram, on my LinkedIn or anything, because it's so damaging. And
you and I speak about that every time that happens. Lindsay and I will speak about that and go, what if someone reads that, and that's where, the older that you get, especially in the construction industry, and you've got people that work for you and work underneath you, the more you understand that you don't know that person. You know their work ethic and you know how they work. You don't know their home life. You don't know their home struggles. You don't know how they were brought up and things like that. So important to...
And I have my own kind of thoughts on even that situation. I imagine that person was probably troubled himself, but so far away from being ready, or if he'd ever be ready to reach out for help.
Yes.
I actually reached out to Rob from the Mind Your Head podcast.
Yes.
And shared it with him or whatever, and he was saying that he gets the same sort of thing, but in person on job sites a lot, when he's just trying to bring awareness to the issue, and he just said you have to ignore it and keep doing what you're doing.
You mightn't even comment on it, but you might be thinking that yourself, like, oh God, I wish people would just harden up. But then when you read that short post about someone losing their friend in the industry to suicide, I don't know what caused the suicide, I have no idea at all, then it puts a face to it. It puts a name to it. It puts reality to that. Like, what happens if that was someone that I told to harden up?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, was it that, you would never forgive yourself. I just wanted to shine a bit of light on that, and Lindsay did too, because it's just, be very careful. If you are giving those messages, if you are giving a, what should I talk about and all of that, reach out to Lindsay. She'll give you some really good topics or talking points, or follow along with Lindsay. There's always some really good information on your Instagram, on your LinkedIn. So Oryx Care on Instagram, we'll put all the links in.
Our YouTube page as well.
Our YouTube as well, obviously, but something just to be mindful of. Don't all fall for the same problems all the time. So Lindsay's goal is to reduce the statistics and help people. The goal is to help the individual, but the big picture is the company that succeeds off that. The company, if it's got a mentally strong work crew, will outperform anyone else.
Yep, 100%.
Regardless of the equipment and all of that. That's a given. Like I've seen it in my work career. So be very mindful of that stuff, guys. Careful of where you're getting your content from. And if you're questioning it, or if the message seems to be mixed or something like that, reach out to the person saying it and, did you mean this? Because sometimes
just to clarify.
It's a clarification. That's what we try and do, and try and bring more awareness to it. So short one, guys, just wanted to say that. So yeah.
Perfect.
Thanks very much.